Can we know how many people are watching from your side?
No, no. She says she's having another class which she has given to somebody.
Oh, okay, okay.
Spoken Sanskrit class. This also I have shared with a lot of my friends.
That's fine. Yeah.
Good.
You can now check our live streaming. I have put it up. It should be now.
Okay.
No, Padma, yeah,
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. So now we are live on YouTube. Just Padma and Pravina, just be
Okay,
kindly
okay.
note of it, and that means yes, got it. So we are 2 minutes before our opening.
We can wait a bit. Maybe about another three. We can start just before 35.
Raviji have sent it.
Okay. Namaste all. Welcome to Easy Hinduism Talk. We are about to start. We have about 5 participants, and we're expecting a few more. So we'll give another 3 minutes, or 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll start. Namaste all. Those who just joined, thank you for joining. We are waiting for a few more participants to come on board. We are 2 minutes past 7:30. We'll give another 3 minutes and then we'll start.
Siraj, volume?
You are on. You unmute yourself. Everybody just.
Good evening and namaste all. Thank you for joining Hindu Center's Easy Hinduism talk. My name is Ravi Sitepalli. I'm one of the committee members, and today we are here to hear a talk by Ms. Pravina. Before we start, we normally go through an opening prayers. Then I will do a brief introduction, and from there onwards, it will be Ms. Pravina who will be taking us through the evening's talk. I request all to mute yourself. I'll lead the opening prayers. It will be 3 opening prayers, and after that, I'll speak about the introduction about the speaker. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheswara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om. Good evening all. Once again, my name is Ravi Sitepalli. I'm one of the committee members of Hindu Center. Today we are going to have a talk on the Krishna's sorry, my bad. Audio issue, something came up here. Yeah, our speaker today is Ms. Pravina. Ms. Pravina is a multifaceted personality. She brings in a strong academic and rich global experience and a growing passion to go deep into Bharatiya roots. She's having a good academic credentials, which includes an executive program at IIM Calcutta, Masters in Computer Science, Computer Applications, Bachelor's in Commerce. In addition, Pravina is a registered medical practitioner of alternative medicine, a neuro-linguistic program practitioner, and a certified hypnotherapist. She is a public speaker in various forums. Now, Pravina's passion is to learn and share the priceless knowledge treasures that Bharatiyam as a nation can offer and provide. It is Pravina's focus to learn, share this knowledge, and connect to day-to-day lives, and more importantly, share the scientific achievements of ancient Bharatiyam. She's also part of Samskrita Bharati, a body that espouses the importance of Sanskritam as a language, where she constantly learns and imparts the language for effective use of people at large. She has participated in various debates in television channels and current affairs, spoken on cultural ethos of Bharatiyam. She also does some pravachanams. Some of them are already on YouTube, such as Sri Anda's Tirupavai, and she has done research work on Bhagwan Sri Krishna names in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And today's topic is related to that. With that brief introduction, I will pass it on to Ms. Pravina.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to join all of you in this beautiful celebration of Krishna. Krishna has been guiding us. Krishna has been, my life, I would say. And we are now going to go into Sri Krishna Jayanti. And for Krishna Jayanti, what else can be a better topic than thinking about Bhagavan Krishna a few days prior to the Janmashtami celebrations? So today, I would like to share some of the interesting aspects about Bhagavan Krishna, and with some stories. His Krishna Leela, the Bhala Leela of Krishna, is something which we can keep thinking, and as we say, Smarane Sukham. Even when we think about Bhagavan Krishna, it gives us so much of happiness. So we will dwell on some Leelas of Bhagavan Krishna. And then Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, they go hand in hand. So I would like to give a very, very small sample about something which we can learn from Bhagavad Gita, which we can implement in our everyday life. And I would like to conclude with the importance of Bhagavan's names, because I have done a project on that. So I will just give a glimpse about what is the kind of names and the depth of the meanings that's there in the names, and how we can use the names to better our own lives. So this is my overall framework of what I would like to talk. And we are now approaching Janmashtami, Sri Krishna Jayanti. Usually, when we think about Bhagavan Krishna, all of us feel very, very happy. Happy because he gives us so many beautiful experiences. Even for Krishna Janmashtami, think of the number of snacks that we make, the kind of celebration that we have. It is pomp and show and happiness. But then if we really think about it, Krishna was born in a jail. He was inside a jail during his birth, Now, but that is celebrated with so much of pomp and show. As against Rama, who was born in a kingdom, but his food or prasad that we have for him is very, very simple. We make Nirmor Panagam, the buttermilk and a goat drink. So why are we celebrating Krishna with so much pomp and flair in spite of he being born in, a Kalagraha or a jail? Now, so many beautiful things starting from there can be our experiences. So how was Krishna born? Why is it so important for us to think of these different things? So when we think about it, the moment Rama comes to our mind, we know that Rama obeyed his father's orders. He lived by whatever Dasharatha said. So when Rama lived by Dasharatha, we said Pitrivakya Paripalanam was one of his most important traits. Now, what about Krishna? Did Krishna abide by what his father said? How exactly did that happen? Was Krishna just, a happy-go-lucky person? Did he obey what his father wanted? You will be surprised The moment Bhagavan Krishna was born, he started obeying the orders of his parents. Now, how did that happen? That will be a very, very interesting revelation to start with for today. Now, Bhagavan Krishna is born inside a Karagraha or jail, as all of us know. And the moment he is born like this. He is born with 4 arms, not with 2 arms. And that is what is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. It says, Tamadbudam bhalakam mambujeksham chaturbujam. So he is born with chaturbuja, 4 arms, which is a lakshanam of Bhagavan Vishnu, where he sports his changa, chakra, gada, and padma in all his 4 hands. So the child is born as Vishnu himself. And what is the explanation that is going? Shanga, Chakra, Gadayudham, all these are there. Srivatsa Lakshmam, he has the Srivatsa, which is supposed to be, a unique identifier of Bhagavan Vishnu, because Lakshmi sits on his Vaksha, right? Sri Vaksha. Sri always sits on his heart. Therefore, this is an identifier of Bhagavan Vishnu. And then it speaks about the beautiful Vastra, Pitambara, that he was sporting. Can you imagine a child being born along with a yellow colored dress? And that was the beauty with which Krishna was born. And it goes on to explain about the beautiful crown that Krishna had, the beautiful kuntalas that Krishna had. And it says that the prakasha of the kuntala was so unique that Krishna, who had a fully grown hair, think about it, a baby born with fully grown hair, the kuntala's prakasha was shining and making the fully grown hair look really, really beautiful. So these are the explanations of Bhagavan Krishna's beauty, which is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavata Purana in the 10th chapter. Atpudam balakam ikshate. Vasudeva saw such a brilliant balaka, Krishna. So the beauty of Krishna is actually mentioned in the Dashama Skanda of Bhagavata Purana, saying that, the moment Bhagavan was born, everybody knew that, oh my God, this is Bhagavan. Vasudeva is looking at Bhagavan and he's saying, how are you? You are there with your 4 arms. You're there with Chanka, Chakra, Gada, Padma, everything like that. You have these beautiful kuntalas. You have your crown. You have the Srivatsa in your chest. And you have all the identities which depict that you are Bhagavan, including the Pitambara. We call Bhagavan as Pitambara, like he wears a yellow color robe. So it says that you are, in this beautiful attire. And Devaki realizes that how can I ever think that I have given birth to this person, And in the Bhagavatam, it says that Devaki, who was not very different from Bhagavan, from her heart came Bhagavan. That is the way it is mentioned. So he was born with all these beautiful traits. And then he starts talking. He starts telling them that because both of you had done a great tapasya for a very, very, very long time, I am now born to you because that was your request. And I was born earlier. The 2nd avatar I took. Now is the 3rd avatar in which I am again born to both of you. So the previous avatar, Bhagavan says, as Vamana avatar, I was born to both of you, who were my parents earlier also. And now this is the 3rd time I'm being born to you. And then he says that, so this is something that you all required, so I am being born. But then Devaki realizes that he is Bhagavan. She worships him. Vasudeva worships him. After that, Devaki has her motherly feeling for him. He is her little child, right? So she says, you are Bhagavan. You are everywhere. Anta Bahishta Tatsarvam. You are everywhere, oh Bhagavan. But then she says, I'm still afraid of Kamsa. Please be in a way that he can't recognize you. I don't want you to be in any kind of trouble because Kamsa has been killing all my children. And he has heard that the 8th child is now going to destroy him. I don't want any problems. So please hide your identity from Kamsa. So Bhagavan appears as he is a normal child by obeying the orders of his parents, he removed all his forearms, he removed his identity as Bhagavan and became a little baby with 2 arms, and he gave a darshan to them. Only after that, Vasudeva took him. Even after that, the Leela continues where, the door of the jail opens, the whatever was tying Vasudeva, Devaki, all those comes out. Then they travel all the way in Yamuna. Vasudeva has Krishna on his head. He is now attempting to cross the water of river Yamuna. Now Yamuna is so overwhelmed that Bhagavan is there. The Bhagavan who is, cannot ever be reached, is right there. Now she wants to worship him. So she wants to touch his feet. So she's trying to come up. But the actual help will be if she actually lowers and gives way to, Vasudeva to go to the other side. But then she's so tempted that he's so near. How can I not reach his feet? Right? So Bhagavan, this little Krishna, now puts his feet a little lower from Vasudeva's head, thereby touching the Yamuna with his toe. The moment she is touched, she is so happy, she just subsides and gives way for Vasudeva to cross and reach the other side. So there are so many ways in which even the second Bhagavan was born, he started helping all his devotees achieve all what they wanted. So this beautiful sloka in Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly tells us the beauty of the birth of Bhagavan, which can be recited by us on the Sri Krishna Janmashtami or the Sri Jayanti, the way you celebrate it. Tamadbudam Bhalakam Mambujeksham, that wonderful boy, the little boy who had this beautiful eyes like a lotus, Chaturbhujam, he had these 4 hands, Shankar, Chakra, Shankar, Ityadi, he says. So all those things which is had by Bhagavan at that time are all quoted by him here. And then he has the Srivatsam. And then he has the Gala Shobhi Kaustubam. So Kaustubam is also there. Kaustubam is supposed to be a representative of all the Jivatmas inside Bhagavan Krishna. So Kaustubam is there. Pitambaram. So every Lakshana which is mentioned of Bhagavan Vishnu can be seen in this little boy. Tad Adbudam Bhalakam is the prayer that is offered here in the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Now, after that, Krishna continues to offer so many leelas to all of us. Now, whenever we speak about Krishna, what usually comes to our mind is the entire Mahabharata. The moment we think about Rama, we think about the entire Ramayana. Now, we have to remember 2 important things as we discuss the Ramayana and Mahabharata, because these 2 are called as the itihasas of our country. Okay, when we say itihasa, it does not translate to mythology, because mythology means it's myth. And in our granthas, whatever our ancestors have given us, they have very clearly categorized what is a myth, what is a documentation of what really happened, what are these kavyas which are authored by poets, what are the Shastra Granthas with which we can attain a lot of real knowledge of the world. So it has all been beautifully classified. Okay. Now, Purana means Pura api Navam. Pura means something which is really ancient. Navam means what is applicable to us for today. So the moment we say Puranam, it means it is a compilation of a lot of learnings which we've accumulated from the past so that we can apply those learnings in our everyday life. So Puranam is something which we can utilize as a tool, because learning from others' experience is smartness. If we have to undergo every single experience in life, we'll not have the time or energy, or it's not required, right? So how do we learn from all the experiences of others in the past? This entire documentation is Purana. Okay. So Purana, there are many Puranas. 18 of that are called as the Mahapuranas. Now, when I mention about Bhagavata Purana, there are so many learnings from Bhagavata Purana which we can take into life. when I speak about Ramayana and Mahabharata, we call these two as itihasas. Why is it called as itihasa? Is because iti ha asa. Iti means thus. Ha means exactly this way. You're saying that it is exactly this way. You're stressing on the point. Asam means past tense. It happened earlier. So this is exactly the way it happened earlier is called as itihasas. So our learned acharyas have called Ramayana and Mahabharata only these two as itihasas. And itihasa means only the person who writes it when the incident happens. The person should have authored the document when the incident happens. Only that is called as itihasa. For example, Valmiki Maharishi lived at the same time that Bhagavan Rama lived. Therefore, Valmiki Maharishi's Ramayanam is itihasam. But there are so many versions of Ramayana which came after that, because people were inspired by the work of Valmiki Ramayanam and they had their own, experiences of Bhagavan Rama. Like Tyagaraja wrote about Ramayana, right? So Saint Tyagaraja had a lot of his bhakti which he incorporated into the songs. But that is not considered as an itihasam. That is considered as his bhakti pravaha. It is considered as songs on Lord Rama based on Tyagaraja's experiences. Similarly, Kamba, Kavi Chakravarti Kamba, we say, wrote a lot about Lord Rama as Kamba Ramayana. That is, looked, at for Kamba's devotion, the Kavi Kamba, the beauty of poetry is all embedded in that. So you read it for that. Is that itihasa? No. Only Valmiki Ramayana is considered as an itihasa. So when you're looking at factual information or references to look at the facts, you go in search into Valmiki Ramayana. If you're looking for, the beauty of the poetry, you can look at Kamba Ramayana. If you're looking at the Bhakti Bhava, you can look at Tyagaraja Ramayana. So for the different purposes, different things are there. When we swap it, we might get confused. So we should be very clear about what we look for at what place. Now, having said all this, Rama in Ramayana did a lot of things, and that Yuga was called as the Treta Yuga. So during Treta Yuga, people could perform a lot of austerities, and then they could get a lot of benefits because of the austerities. Even in Ramayana, we would have heard, right? King Dasharatha did a Putra Kameshti Yaga in order to have the blessings and get 4 children who were all Vishnu Swarupa, right? Now, in Krishna Avatara, the Yuga actually changes. Now it becomes the Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga is when Bhagavan Krishna is born. So the Dwapara Yuga has a different Dharma. So the Dharma of Dwapara Yuga is basically the Archana. You actually offer your Archanas to Bhagavan. But now the Yuga that we all are in is called as the Kali Yuga. So in Kali Yuga, what is important for us actually changes. There is this beautiful sloka which says, Yayan krite yajan yajnaihi tretayam dvapare archayan yadapnoti tadapnoti kalau sankirtya keshavam. So dhyayan krite. In Krita Yuga, people, had excellent concentration. They could do a lot of dhyana on Bhagavan. Yajan yajnaihi tretayam. In Treta Yuga, they could, do a lot of yajna, yaga, everything to achieve whatever they wanted to do. In Dwapara, they could do archanas to Bhagavan because they still could have a lot of conviction and, dedication to doing it. But when it comes to Kali Yuga, Parvati Devi is asking Lord Shiva, if I want to recite the Sahasranama, there are 20 names. And now Kali Yuga is going to come. If people are not able to recite the 20 names and do Archana to Bhagavan, what is the simplest way out? And then Bhagavan Shiva says, Sri Rama 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 iti Rame Rame Manorane Sahasranama Tat Tulyam Sri Rama Nama Varanane. So you repeat Rama 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 3 times. Whatever is the benefit they will get by reciting the 1000 names, can be got by this. Right? This is a very familiar sloka for all of us. Now, Rama, Rama, Rama 3 times. That is what we can do in Kali Yuga. Because it says that in this sloka that I was repeating, Dhyayan krite yajanyajnaihi tretayam dwapare achen, edapnoti tadapnoti. Whatever benefits they receive in the earlier yugas by so many difficult tasks, Kalau Sankirtya Keshavam. Just by reciting the names of Bhagavan as Keshava, Madhava, Govinda, Hari, you can get the same benefits. So that is what Parvati Devi tells. I mean, Parvati Devi understands from Bhagavan Shiva that, what the 1,000 names can do. If you can't do even that, you have to repeat the names of Bhagavan. If you can't do that, at least say Rama, Rama, Rama 3 times. When you say Rama, 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 it is Sahasranama Tatatulyam. It becomes equivalent to reciting Sahasranama. Now, there are 2 important reasons. There are many, many reasons. I'll tell you 2 important reasons of how the 1,000 names can be equivalent to repeating Rama, Rama, Rama. Now, one reason is that whenever we repeat the name of one name of God, why do we repeat it? That is a very, very important question that we have to ask ourselves. Why do we repeat the name of God? The reason can be because his traits, his gunas are something which we are amazed with. We want to keep thinking about it. We want to keep contemplating it, that we want to bring that particular guna into our life. For example, I was telling that Rama always, listens to his father. Krishna also did the same. And the moment you think about Rama, you know that he was a Satyasandha. He always followed truth. Rama always tells the truth. Okay. Now, I keep repeating the name of Rama. Rama, 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 Rama. Now, I'm facing a situation in life where there is a dilemma. If I tell the truth, I have to face tougher consequences. But I can get away, easily if I do not say the truth or represent the facts wrongly. Okay, if this is the situation. Now, what do I do at that point of time? Do I repeat Bhagavan's name, Rama, 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 just for the sake of it, or do I repeat it with conviction? That becomes a very important question. Now, I have to say that what does Rama do? Rama always says the truth. In this situation, what would have Rama done? He would have definitely stood by the truth, because just for the truth, his father said he went all the way to forest for not 1 or 2 days, but for 14 years. Which means that if I have to keep remembering Rama and his qualities, his gunas, his Kalyana gunas, I have to abide by the truth. So I start implementing truth in my life, come what may. Irrespective of the situations, I start, repeating Bhagavan's name. So like this, whenever we contemplate on Bhagavan, we start incorporating a quality of him in our life. So in Sahasranama, even before we start with the 1,000 names, it mentions Yani Namani Gaunani Ityatani Mahatmanaha Rishibhi Parihitani Tani Vakshyami. So what does Bhishmacharya say? Yani Namani Gaunani, whatever names represents the different qualities of Bhagavan. Each name has a beautiful quality. Now I'm going to tell those qualities to you. And these are not something that I created. Rishihi, all the sages, the ancient sages, dwelt on the different qualities of Bhagavan. Not thousands qualities, thousands of qualities. Of that, I'm just taking a few and then I'm giving it to you. So, Yani Namani Gaunani Ityatani Mahatmanaha Rishibihi Parihitani Tani Vakshyami. I am going to tell you, I'm going to elaborate a few from those. So, each of this name is a quality. Now, we start repeating these qualities. But if we cannot repeat all the 1,000 names, then what happens? Shiva tells Parvati, at least repeat Rama, Rama, Rama 3 times. Why? Because Rama is an embodiment of all these qualities. The moment you understand Rama, the moment you know his story, whatever qualities are mentioned here, you can start thinking about those qualities, thereby repeating Bhagavan's name, Rama, 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 is equivalent to thinking of all the gunas of all the avatars of Bhagavan. Therefore, repeat Lord Rama's name. So this is one main reason where, Rama, Rama, Rama with bhakti, with contemplating of Bhagavan. When we think about Ramayana, the entire Ramayana is nothing but elaboration of his qualities. So that elaboration can be experienced by us. So this is the first reason. There is one more reason. So the second reason why we should repeat Bhagavan's name is because there is something called as the Katapayadi Sankhya in Sanskrit. Okay, Katapaya. This was an encryption code that was used by our, even now it is used by many people, but for a lot of, encoding, people used to use the Katapayadi Sankhya. What this means is every consonant will have a number associated to it. Okay, for example, Ka will have the number 1, Ga will have the number 3, etc., etc. Okay, so like that, when you see, Ra has a value of 2, Ma has a value of 5, according to Katapayadi Sankhya. There is a mapping. Every number will have a, every consonant will have a number. Now, if Rama is taken, Ra is 2, Ma is 5. So what happens to Rama? Rama becomes 10. 2 into 5 is 10. Right? So Rama as a number will now get the value of 10. Now what happens when you say Rama, Rama, Rama? Rama into Rama into Rama becomes 10 into 10 into 10, Sahasranama Tatatulyam. So mathematically, even if you encode using the Katapayadi Sankhya, Rama, Rama, Rama will result in Sahasranama Tatulyam. So mathematically also, this name gives the accuracy. Okay. So many beautiful dimensions can be had in many different things that we see. So most of the understanding has to be multi-dimensional here. So the Nama Sankirtana is to remember, contemplate the gunas or the experiences of each different names and then dwell in that so that we get the experience of that beautiful quality of Bhagavan so that we try to implement it in our everyday life. Now think about it. There is a lot of grass on the road, okay? And you keep walking on the grass day in and day out. Every day you keep walking in the same way. After some time, what happens? A path will get created, correct? Automatically, a path will get created. There will not be any grass there anymore. And you can walk there comfortably. Similarly, when we keep repeating the name of Bhagavan again and again and again and again in our mind, there are neurons in our brain and the path of the neuron gets established in our mind. So what happens? The moment you start thinking about him, all those start popping automatically. Every day morning when I get up, this is the name I will repeat. When we start thinking about it, automatically after a few days, your neurons will, remind you, please repeat it. It's time to repeat his name. When you step out, you repeat it. When you take the phone call, why should we say a hello? Why can't we say Bhagavan's name? So that the others will also respond with Bhagavan's name, right? So when we take the phone call, when we end the phone call, so I always have the habit of saying Ram Ram when I keep the phone down. And I've started observing that anybody who speaks to me are eventually starting to say Ram Ram when they keep the phone down. So when this regularly happens, our neurons get connected. Every time you think of something which Rama does, something which Krishna does, bring that part of your life. Eventually, you will see a sea of difference between what was there and what is happening. Because it is all end of the day, they have given us all these Puranas because we have to implement in our life. Pura api navam. It is all implementable in our life. So the Itihasas, Ramayana and Mahabharata are there. In Kali Yuga, what we can do is the Nama Sankirtana of Bhagavan because that is our Yuga Dharma. We don't have a better thing other than repeating Bhagavan's name in this Yuga. So let's experience some of the beautiful leelas of Bhagavan and remember some names associated with it. Here you can see the beautiful Krishna tied to the rope. Now this avatara is called as Damodara Avatar. Now, what do we mean by Damodara Avatar? It's a very, very interesting understanding for us. Damodara has a very unique explanation. Now, Krishna, as all of us know, has gone into, Vasudeva has taken him, he's crossed the Yamuna river, he's reached the other side, and he's known for a lot of his taunts. He keeps playing around with everybody, doing a lot of leelas, giving happiness to everybody there. Now, one of this beautiful leela is called as the Damodara leela, which is also mentioned in the Bhagavad Purana. Now, what happens there is something which, touches all of our heart. Now, Krishna wants milk. He's a little child at that time. Now, his mother, he's now gone to the other side. So, Yashoda is with him. Now, Yashoda is feeding little Krishna. And all of a sudden, she realizes that the milk in the kitchen is boiling. So, she has to, turn off the fire. So, she just leaves Krishna there, halfway through feeding him, and then rushes into the place to switch off her milk, which is boiling. Otherwise, it will overflow. Krishna could not, handle. He was really upset. How can something else be a priority for her other than me, right? So this little Krishna is now so angry that he pushes off all the, vessels that are nearby. There was a butter pot there. He just throws out. He starts eating that butter. He makes his face, filled with butter. And after breaking everything, when there was nothing else to bake, he just runs out of that. And there was this mortar. He turns it upside down. He climbs on it. And there is a dahi andi on top. He goes there to steal, the butter from there and then feed it to monkeys. He doesn't want to eat. He wants to feed the monkeys there. So he happily gives all the monkeys the butter. And now Yashodama comes looking for where little Krishna is. And she sees everything is broken. The moment she sees it, she knows. Okay, now this is this little Krishna's taunt. So let me go looking for him. So she goes, she searches for him everywhere. And then she sees him feeding butter to monkeys. She is annoyed. She says that, I am not going to let you free. And then she takes hold of a stick that was there right next to her. And then she runs behind him. And now little Krishna goes fast and then she follows her. I mean, Yashoda is, going right behind him. And as he is running, he starts to appear as if he is scared. He does not even know how to be scared, So he calls the devas who, are responsible for fear. He says, okay, how should I look if I'm scared? And then they say that this is how you look. And then he tries to make a face as if he's scared. And then he starts crying. And he's wearing all this mild kajal in his eyes. So all that keeps flowing and he looks really cute with all that. In Bhagavatam it says how cute Krishna looks with all his kajal coming down his cheek, crying without even knowing how to cry. And now this mother Yashoda sees him cry. Her heart melts. She's not even able to handle, oh my God, don't cry, Krishna, you can't cry. So only because you're running around like this, you end up doing all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie you in a particular place so that you don't do all these mischiefs, right? So she wants to tie him. So he was climbing on the mortar. She tries to tie him to that mortar. So when she looks for, a rope. She wants to tie him with that rope and the rope is long enough and our Krishna is a little Krishna. So she tries to tie him. And when she tries to tie him, the rope is smaller by 2 feet. Anguli Dvayam is what is mentioned in Bhagavad Purana. So it says that 2 finger was the shortage of that rope. So she could not tie. So she takes another rope, ties it on to this rope, and then attempts to tie this little kid. But that rope is also not sufficient. She's surprised. Now, when I add a second rope, the rope should have become really big. Why is it not sufficient for me to tie Krishna? So she adds another rope. Now, all the nearby gopikas, all the elderly women, everybody comes there to see what is happening here, So she keeps tying another rope, not able to. She adds many, many, many ropes, but always there is this two-finger gap between the rope and Krishna. She's not able to tie it. She's now exhausted. Oh my God, I tried to just tie this little kid to, mortar, and I'm not able to do it. What is happening? And she really gets tired and fatigued. And her flowers start falling down. She's filled with sweat. She's tired. Why am I not able to tie it? Think about it. Can anybody tie Bhagavan? He is the one who's measured all the, in the previous birth for the same parents. He is the one who's taken the avatar of Vamana earlier. He's told that earlier to Vasudeva and Devaki, where he was born. And now he can't be tied, right? He measured with 1 feet the entire regions on top, with other feet, everything that is on the bottom. And now Yashoda tries to tie him with a rope. Is it even possible? So it was not possible. But now, seeing his mother feeling so tired, Krishna felt, oh my God, no. I should actually lose to my mother. She is filled with love to me. So we call Bhagavan as Bhakta Paradina, right? So he says, okay, Amma, you tie me now. And then she's able to tie with the same rope, which was not sufficient earlier. So Krishna is happily now tied to the mortar. So that is the kind of bhakti which was given by Yashoda in terms of love to Bhagavan Krishna. She's not read these Vedas or Upanishads or anything, or she does not do yajna, what is expected. But then her love for Krishna made Bhagavan be tied by a rope. Nobody could do it. There are so many literature which speaks about Brahmastra going there. Nothing could be done. Everything just went a waste. But this little rope, Bhagavan was very happily tied to it. So this Leela, which we call as the Damodara Leela, mentions that Damam Udare Yasya Saha Damodaraha. The one, Dharma. Dharma means rope. Udara means stomach. So in his Udara, in his stomach, he allowed himself to be tied by this little rope because of the love of his mother. So that Leela is called as the Damodara, and Bhagavan very happily sports, tells himself that he is Damodara. And he, in fact, in many temples, even today, Bhagavan is known as Damodara. And in some temples, if you go and see, if you, are having this darshan exclusively, there are also sevas where they show that little mole on the side, on the hip of Bhagavan, where this rope was tied, saying that, this happened when Yashoda tied him with the mortar. And Bhagavan even today is very, very happily sporting that little rope, saying that my mother tied me. Because of that, this is the mole. He is Bhagavan. He cannot be captured. And this Leela gives us this beautiful experience of the easy accessibility of Bhagavan. How he comes down to allowing himself to be tied by a Jivatma also, if they have enough bhakti. Bhakta Paradina is something that is shown by this episode. So there are many, many beautiful things like this. In fact, when we enjoy a lot of these kind of leelas of Bhagavan, you have a lot of Tamil pasurams of Alvars. And one pasuram which very, very beautifully explains this leela is Kanninul Siruthambu, which is in Tamil written by Madura Kavi Alvar. Madura Kavi Alvar says, Kanninul Siruthambinal Kattunna Panniya Perumayan. This is the first line of his Kanninul Siruthambu pasuram, where he says, now Yashoda mother tries to tie him up, right? How does he get tied? He says that Siruthambu, small rope is what he takes. How small is that rope? Nun Siruthambu, very, very small. It's thin, you can't even see it properly, right? So how small is that? Kanninul Siruthambu, not even visible to an eye. She takes something like that because she just wants to tell him that, look, I'm going to tie you, right? Now, Kanninul Siruthambu, Siruthambu, Nun Siruthambu, Kanninul Siruthambu. With that, could he be tied? No. So what happened? He allowed himself to be tied. Kattunna Panniya Perumayan. Kattunda Mayan is not the word. Kattunna Panniya Mayan. He allowed himself to be tied with that. So he's that kind of a Mayan. In spite of being the ultimate Bhagavan, he allows himself to be experienced by the devotee. So that is this beautiful Damodara Leela. So whenever we remember Bhagavan as Damodara, we can even tie him if we have the devotion like Yashoda Mata. So look at his beautiful face, so scared seeing his mother, allowing her to tie him. That is our little Krishna. Now, this is yet another beautiful Leela of Bhagavan Krishna. This is Aghasura. Aghasura is a brother of Putana. All of us know the Putana. So I didn't want to go into the Putana episode. We are aware of it. This Aghasura Vada has something very, very interesting for me to share. Aghasura was a brother of Putana, and he took the form of a huge python. And the python, as far as the measurement is concerned, it is told as 8 miles long, which is like 12.8 kilometers, if we have to understand in today's language. So the python was 12.8 kilometers long, and the height measured to that of a mountain, and he kept his mouth wide open. Now, all these little kids saw this python's mouth being wide open, and they thought it was some play toy, They were very happy, thinking that it is something that has come up there in their place, and they all wanted to go and start playing there. So they all were entering there. And now this Asura was sent by Kamsa to kill baby Krishna. Baby Krishna was 5 years old at that time. He was a little kid. Now Aghasura wants to eat this baby Krishna, and that is why he was waiting in that posture. In spite of all the little children entering his mouth, he did not close the mouth because he was waiting for Krishna to come inside. Now, Krishna decides, okay, let me go inside. All my bhaktas, the little kids have gone inside, so let me go inside. And all these kids are so confident. Let us go in. Krishna is there with us. He will take care of us, right? So with all that confidence, when the kids go in, Bhagavan also goes in. The moment Bhagavan goes inside, Aghasura dutifully closes his mouth. And the moment he closes his mouth, what happens is that every kid inside is, losing the consciousness. And Krishna is now gone inside. And Krishna says that, okay, now you're playing with my devotees. So what I'm going to do is he starts expanding himself inside Aghasura. So inside the python, Bhagavan starts becoming big. His height was that of a mountain, right? So Bhagavan becomes bigger than that. And the python now suffocates and he collapses. But the Purana says that in spite of that, because Bhagavan entered him, he also got, a Sadgati. And all the kids were now not conscious, and Bhagavan makes everybody conscious. And they all did not even realize, that the magnanimity of what has happened. So they are like, okay, Krishna, we are hungry. Can we eat? So Krishna says, yeah, let's find a good place to eat. Okay. So they all go there. And the Aghasura Vada ends here, where Shukabrahma Maharshi, who was narrating this episode, says that the children explained about the episode of Aghasura's death 1 year later. Okay, so this episode has happened. 1 year later, they come and tell their parents that this episode happened as if it happened yesterday. Now, Parikshit is like, what happened in between? Where does this 1 year go? So why was there a delay of 1 year for the children to explain the story? Okay. Now, let's put a pause button there. Let's also remain curious. Now, what happened is Krishna tells all the children, like, come, let's sit near this beautiful Yamuna river. Look at the kind of privilege that Yamuna Nadi had, right? Every day, Krishna goes there, dances there. because Ganga Jala touched the feet of Bhagavan when he took the Trivikram avatar, she is so pure. But Yamuna, he goes inside, he plays with the Kalinga in there, he washes his hand. Every day after eating, he drinks that water, goggles it back in Yamuna. What kind of a blessing did Yamuna have? Tells all our acharyas, they get, into this beautiful feeling. Now, all the children go sit near that Yamuna, and it is mentioned very beautifully how they decorate themselves. Their parents usually decorate them very nicely and then send them to the forest. Now, these kids have all their calves and cows, and they allow them to go and graze everywhere. And whenever there are some nice fruits, the kids just eat it. Whenever there's a beautiful flower, they decorate themselves with those flowers. Sometimes they give the flowers to Krishna. Krishna gives something to them. Whatever they get, they start decorating their head. So a lot of these very, very interesting things are done by the kids in the forest. So that is all explained here. They all sit near there. There's a beautiful grass. There is a Yamuna river flowing by. So the cattle could graze comfortably in the greens. Now Krishna gives flowers to them. Krishna gives fruits to them. They all sit together. And it is very, very nicely explained that some kids used to bring some plates in order to eat. Some used to use the rocks itself, to put their food and eat. Some use the petals of big flowers to eat. And then Krishna used to take from everybody. Everybody used to taste all kinds of food. And the Anubhava of Sukabrahma Rishi here is something that we have to dwell on. He goes to the extent of saying there are many varieties of pickle. And Krishna ate curd rice with pickle, when this incident was happening. So he had the curd rice and he had pickle in between every finger of his, and he was licking the pickle and eating the curd rice. So that is the kind of elaboration that is given, how he ate the curd rice, and for every mouth, he had a different pickle which he was licking. Okay, so that is beautifully explained there. So you can have an excellent visual retreat of how Krishna was and how all these kids were, and all the cows have now gone out for grazing. At that point, all the devas are seeing it and they are astonished. He is Bhagavan. Whatever we do, you go to the Paramapada, you keep reciting in Sri Vaikunta, you keep reciting so many Veda mantras with utmost devotion, dedication. For what? Will Bhagavan have a glimpse of smile in the corner of his lips? Will he do this? We all are waiting for that little mandahasam from Bhagavan. And here, these kids, they don't know these mantras. They don't know anything. Bhagavan usually eats only with the yajnas. He has a name called Yajna book, whose food is from the yajnas. Yajna book is a term with which we worship Bhagavan. And now he takes the food from them. They eat half and then they say, it's tasty, you can eat, Krishna. And then they feed it to Krishna. Krishna is happily eating this. Oh my God, how are we to understand this? The devas are overwhelmed seeing this. Now Brahma, who was seeing this, was like, has even Krishna forgotten who he is? Why is he doing it? I'm going to show a little bit of my strength here, to Krishna and see what is going to happen, right? So as this was going on, what happened is the kids are sharing all the food. The cows have gone to graze. And after some time, the cows are not even visible. On other side, the devas and Brahma are watching all this. So kids are now worried, where have all the cows gone? Maybe we can go and search where the cows have gone and then bring them back. Let us go, Krishna. Krishna says, no, all of you are happily eating food. You all eat, I will go get all the cows back. So don't worry, enjoy your food, okay? So he asks all the kids to eat and then he goes looking for all the cows. Now, when he goes and he's not able to see the cows, he understands, okay, now Brahma, the Chaturmukha Brahma, has taken all the cows. He's hidden all the cows. Now, Krishna understands this. And then he says, okay, let him hide the cows, no problem. And then he comes back to the children, and all the children are by then hidden by Brahma. So Brahma has now hidden all the children also. So Krishna understands this. So Krishna decides, okay, now I want to give some happiness to Brahma. I also want to give some happiness to all these cows. You know, he loves cows. He's called as Govinda for that reason. I want to give happiness to cows. And my mother Yashoda loves me. So do all these gopikas, you know. So what Bhagavan did is, I want to become a child of all these gopikas and all these cows. So Krishna instantly became everything that was there. He became the calves, he became the cows, he became the gopas who are playing with him. So the Bhagavata Purana very, very beautifully explains the kind of Leela that Bhagavan did, where it says that Krishna took the form of everything there, where he simultaneously expanded himself to every single thing that was there. In the 10th chapter, you know, it is explained how Bhagavan expanded himself. He says that he became all the children that were there. You know, there were so many kids. Bhagavan became those thousands of children who were there at that point of time. He became all the cows. Every cow had a different color. Every cow had a different design. The neck, some things had some bulk, some things had some moles. He became all that. He became the calves. You know, he became the children. And if some child was dark in complexion, he became dark. If some child was, you know, fair in complexion, he became fair. If some child had a bag, he became that bag. He became their tiffin box. He became the food inside the tiffin box. He became the remains of the food in the tiffin box. He basically became even the, you know, small things that is tied to the neck of the calves. He became every single thing of every calf, every cow, every gopa, every instrument that could be seen. Krishna himself became that. That is what is mentioned in this beautiful sloka of Bhagavata. And then Krishna went back home. Okay. And everybody there felt that they had some extra love to their own children, because people at home did not know that it was Bhagwan who was coming back to them. They thought it was their little kid. And this little kid, you know, somehow attracted them a lot more than before. The cows, on seeing the calf, gave a lot more milk because they were having some kind of an extra love to this calf. It is mentioned that the cow started licking the calves like never before. The cow started pouring milk like never before. Every house had this beautiful anubhava of Krishna. And Krishna, why did he do this? He says, I wanted to give this beautiful anubhava to all the cows, all the mothers in the Vrajabhumi. That is why I became everything. I also wanted to give this wonderful anubhava to Brahma, because Brahma knows at a technical level that Bhagavan is everything. Now, the practical anubhava, where he can see everything as Krishna, can be enjoyed by Brahma. This is also mentioned in Bhagavad Purana. So, Anta Bahishta Tat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha is the Veda Vyakya. And now, inside, outside, everything, Ananta Rupa, Krishna became all the Rupas that he could see, getting into every single form. And the Vrajabhumi was filled with Krishna. Now, just a few days before 1 year could end, Balarama realizes, how am I getting so much of affection to everything that is happening around, right? So every day they come here, the cows go for grazing, the boys go behind the cow. Of course, the cows are also now Krishna. Krishna is grazing everything. The boy who's allowing the cows to graze is also Krishna. So Krishna is allowing Krishna to graze. So he's there. The tiffin box, which is shared by everybody, is also Krishna. The food that is given is also by Krishna. Every single, the tilaka that he was wearing, every single thing is Krishna. So Balarama is like, earlier I used to have this abundance of love to you, Krishna. But today, I don't see a difference between how much I love you and how much I love others. Why is this happening? And then Krishna smiles. Balarama also understands all what is gone for this whole year. And here is this beauty that comes. Brahma, in a second, just like that, he leaves the kids in Brahmaloka and then comes here to see what is happening. What is Krishna doing? I've now taken off all the cows. I've now taken off all the calves, right? I said Brahma took everything. Now he wants to see what's happening here. So he's looking at it. At that time, Brahma sees everything is as before. The same group is sitting there with, the kind of dress, the kind of food. Nobody is reduced. All cows are there. All calves are there. And he's like, how did they all return here? And then he looks with his Jnana Drishti. He sees everybody is there. So who is that? Who is this? Which is original? Which is not? What is happening here? Brahma is now stunned to see everything that is happening. And he's like, oh my God, what is this? I'm so confused. What is happening? And then Krishna gives his Rupa to Brahma, where Krishna shows that every single form that is taken is me. Everything is me. This Gopa is me. This calf is me. Everything in this Prapanja is me. And Krishna shows his universal form as the Parabrahman inside every single kid that is there, every cow and calf that is there. He shows that. And he also shows Brahma inside himself. He says, inside you also, it is me who is there. And then Brahma realizes, oh my God, this is what I wanted for. It is such a beautiful thing that you've given me, this experience of seeing everything was you. Nobody can ever get it, oh my Krishna. And then Brahma does a Brahma Stuti, which is given in Srimad Bhagavata, where Brahma says, oh my Bhagavan, you've actually given me this beautiful experience. So where everything is actually your expansion, I realize that now. And so Brahma got his Anubhava. Every single mother of all the children got that Anubhava. Bhagavan himself became that children. And then when Krishna gave back all the kids got back whatever they left. And now Sukha Brahma Rishi says that the kids went and told their parents about the Aghasura Vada. Because to them, it's just a second has passed, Aghasura Vada has just happened. And then they go and tell everything to their family, saying that, Amma, there was this huge python, Krishna killed him and all that. And then 1 year has elapsed. Now, this is the beauty. Sukha Brahma Rishi speaks of time dilation here. He says that the second, Brahma just left him and then, very quickly he came here. But that was 1 year in the count as per the Bhuloka. So in this chapter, Sukha Brahma Rishi, in our Purana, which is thousands and thousands and thousands of years back, mentions about the concept of time dilation, which we think, came after Einstein's relativity theory, right? So he speaks that the Brahmaloka time zone is different. The time zone in this earth is different. And though it was just one Kshana of Brahma, there is 1 year which is passed here. So that concept is also beautifully explained in this Bhagavata Purana. So this is yet another Krishna Leela, where Krishna shows a very, very interesting concept. So if you have to look at the two Leelas that I've explained till now, one is the Damodara, right? Little Krishna allowing his mother, to tie him. So there we see that beauty of Krishna, where he allows himself to be tied by the mother, his easy accessibility. This quality is called as the Saulabhyam. Saulabhyam means we can worship him as a little Krishna. We can worship him like the way we want. We can even tie him with our devotion, right? He's available for us to do whatever we want. This quality is called as the Saulabhya quality. But then if God is always accessible to us, what happens is after some time, we start treating him like yet another person. Today also we see, right? Yeah, he was also born. He was also, just like us. So why should we worship him as a God? So for all that, the second Leela is an answer. Even for Brahma, Bhagavan showed that he was inside Brahma also. He showed everything as Brahma. So he showed his Paratvam there. Paratvam is that the ultimate authority is the Paratvam, the God, the ultimate Bhagavan. So in Tamil, usually there is a phrase which our acharyas quote, Saulabhyathai kandu igazhamaikku paratvam, paratvathai kandu anjamaikku saulabhyam. What this means is, if he's always accessible to us, we might think, hey, what is this Krishna? He goes behind all the cows and calves all the time, big deal. So we should not think that he's just doing that. So we should not demean Bhagavan Krishna just because he's going behind the cows. So, Saulabhyathai kandu igazhamaikku paratvam. Therefore, he says, I can become everything. Hey, Brahma, if you take everything, you think I'm going to be worried. I become everything, right? So he became every single thing that was there, just instantly, and not for just a day or two. For 1 year, every day he used to come behind the cows. Every day he used to graze with them. Every day he used to eat food. Nobody there knew any kind of difference until Balarama inquired to Krishna, why am I feeling so much of affection? Right? So Krishna could just do away and show his paratvam. And he was simultaneously showing his saulabhyam to the parents of all the gopas. He was showing his saulabhyam even to the cows that was there in that bhumi. So his love for the cows, the matas, everybody there is we can't even imagine it. Thousands of forms simultaneously. So that is paratvam. So paratvam, when Bhagavan shows, now we get scared. Oh my God, he is so big. How do I reach him? Paratvathai kandu anjamaikku saulabhyam. Don't worry. I am with you. I will go down to any level in order to, take care of my devotees. So these two things are combined. So whenever we think of Bhagavan as Damodara, we can remember his saulabhyam. He is easily accessible. He will do anything for us. When we think of this, when kids give him food, he eats. He eats, from every little finger, he eats all the chilies, all the pickles, and he goes behind all the cows. That kind of easy accessibility is there with our Bhagavan. So we get the confidence that, okay, he's not really going to, get wild if I do some mistakes. So I gain the courage to worship him, even if I don't know the right way to worship him. So, Paratvathai kandu anjamaikku saulabhyam, saulabhyathai kandu igazhamaikku paratvam. These two phrases are got by these two wonderful leelas of Bhagavan. And usually, when we eat food, people say that we should always remember the name Govinda before eating food. Govinda is such an important name of Bhagavan because Go means a cow. So he protected all these cows. And if we have to offer food, I was earlier telling you about the name Yajna book, right? So the god whose consumption is from the Yajna, he eats from the Yajna. So when you think of that Paratvam, we might be scared. Oh my God, I don't know if I've prepared my food based on, that kind of religious scriptures. I don't know if I've done my offerings properly. How do I offer it to Bhagavan? Krishna says, don't worry, think of me as Govinda. I eat even from the cowherds. I eat from the village. I eat even when they eat and give it to me, provided bhakti is there. So, patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. If we have bhakti, he will take whatever we offer, anything from the nature. Patram, a leaf, tulasi you offer to him, he will very happily take. Pushpam, you offer him flowers, he will happily take. Patram pushpam phalam, so give him any kind of fruits. You don't even have to cook it. It's all there. You give. He says, even if these are not possible, give me toyam, give me water. But the most important thing is bhaktya. Yome bhaktya prayachati. You give all these to me with bhakti, I will very, very, very happily take all these things. So bhakti is the main ingredient because it is not that he's not got food. He's the one who's created all these for us. So we can't give him anything. But the fact is that we have to give him bhakti. With bhakti, for us to feel happy, he will take anything that we offer to him. So that is a very, very important concept. So whenever we eat food, we should say the name Govinda. It is mentioned, Kabale, Kabale, Chairva Kudyat, Govinda Kirtanam. For every morsel of food, say Govinda and eat. Say Govinda and eat. Because he's inside us, right? He's our Antaratma. So you're feeding him the food. So eating the food that way is itself a sacrifice that we can do where we are feeding Bhagavan. So you can think of yourself as Yashoda. Bhagavan is inside you. So every morsel that you eat is actually the food which you are giving to the Antaryami Bhagavan. So it is a yajna if you offer it with bhakti. So kabale chaiva kuryat Govinda Kirtanam. So every morsel of food, you can repeat the name of Govinda. Draupadi said, Govinda Puntari Kaksha Rakshamam Sharanagatam. And then the moment she said Govinda, Bhagavan was not physically in that room. Only the Pandavas were there. But Govinda gave her all the clothes that she wanted and protected her because of the importance of the name Govinda. So Gam Vindatiti Govinda. Govinda means protector of earth also. So when Bhagavan took the third avatar, Varaha avatar, he protected Bhumi. So when he protected the earth, he got this title as Govinda. And then during the Krishna Avatara, he actually helped all the people when there was heavy rains and thunder and pouring because Indra was angry when Govardhana was worshipped instead of him. All of you know the story. So at that time, Krishna protected everybody, including the cows and calves and the entire Rajabhumi. So at that time, Kamadhenu came and worshipped Krishna, saying that you are Govinda. You protected all the cows. Kamadhenu is the divine cow. She said, because you protected all the cows from Indra's Vrat, you are Govinda indeed. And Govinda Pattabhishekam was done by Kamadhenu during the time when Krishna actually lifted the Govardhana Parvata for 7 days with his little finger. So again, Govinda here shows how well he took care of his devotees. So he protected the earth, he protected the cows. So he was called Govinda during Varaha Avatara. He's called Govinda here. He protected Draupadi, so he's called Govinda. So whenever we remember Govinda, we can remember these beautiful incidents of his life. So having said that, Bhagavan is also being called as Govinda by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so I said I'll just go into 1 or 2 slokas of Bhagavad Gita. So when Arjuna calls Krishna as Bhagavad Gita, as Govinda in Bhagavad Gita, what does he actually mean? Because as I said, Govinda has many names. It can be his easy accessibility. It can be his, protecting the earth angle. It could be protecting the cows. It could be anything, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, you will be surprised seeing that Arjuna keeps calling Krishna with so many different names. Now, in a face-to-face conversation, okay, suppose 2 people are talking to each other, there is no need to address each other by their name, right? Now, if there are many people, I want to call one person, I might have to call them by their name. When there are only 2 people in a conversation, in this case, in Bhagavad Gita, the conversation was between Krishna and Arjuna. In this conversation, Arjuna and Krishna could just go on talking. But if you read the Bhagavad Gita carefully, Krishna addresses Arjuna with many different names. So the first time I read it, I thought maybe, Krishna was a mentor. He was a counselor to Arjuna. So just to give him a pat on his back, he called him with several names. Possible. So I looked at the names and it had like, Mahabaho. So, the broad-chested one, the one all of us know the Bahubali movie, right? Where the Bahubali, the strength of the shoulders are mentioned. So Mahabahu, okay, maybe Krishna wanted to give pep talk to Arjuna. So he also tells Dhananjaya, you won so many battles and conquered so many people, brought in so much of money earlier for Rajasuya Yajna, where you got your name Dhananjaya. So all these were there. So when I was seeing, I realized even Arjuna has addressed Bhagavan Krishna with so many different names. Now I was like, what is the need for Arjuna to call Krishna with so many different names? Because Arjuna was not giving any counseling. Why did he have to call him with so many different names in Bhagavad Gita? So I did an entire analysis of which chapter, which name is used by Arjuna. And we should also remember when Krishna gives a response, he is sometimes using his own names In fact, using many different names of himself. Why did Krishna have to use so many names of himself? And now this entire Gita message was informed to Dhritarashtra by Sanjaya. Okay, Sanjaya was blessed with a divine sight by sage Vedavyasa to know all what is happening in the war field. So now Sanjaya is one more person who is involved in the Gita operation, where he is able to hear entire advice of Bhagavan Krishna and transfer the knowledge. Now these are the three people who are involved. Dhritarashtra has only one sloka and no names are there, so we'll leave it there. Now within these three people, the conversation, there are around 135 different times that Krishna's names appear in Bhagavad Gita. So that was like 135 times the name is used. Why would that be the case? Because possibly in 2 hours, the entire Bhagavad Gita would have got recited, which means every minute a name was used. Why? That gets us thinking. And then I realized that some names are repeated a few times, while some names are unique by itself. Why is it? So in my Excel, I went on to see that, okay, these are the names repeated in these chapters. In different chapters, is it got the same meaning or different meaning? Which meaning applies in which chapter? What is the mindset of Arjuna when he does, use a name? When Sanjaya uses a different name, is his mindset the same or different from Arjuna? So it was a whole different analysis that happened. And there were around 72 unique names, which, without repetition, I could get across Bhagavad Gita. So I tried to compile all these 72 names, and I wanted everybody to remember these names because I was telling you the importance of Nama Sankirtana in this Yuga. This Kali Yuga is a time where we can get all what was got by, very, very difficult practices in the previous Yugas. Kalau Sankirtya Keshavam. This Yuga, we have to repeat Bhagavan's name. In fact, it is mentioned, Harar Namaiva, 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 Mama Jivanam, Kalau Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. Other than keep reciting Hari, 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 in Kali Yuga, there is no other way at all. So we have to repeat his names. So when I was thinking about it, these 72 names, what was the situation in which Arjuna has uttered these names? He was depressed. He did not know what is right and what is wrong. He wanted clarity of thought. He wanted to know what he had to do. What is the action that he had to take? He wanted to go by the dharmic path and not support adharma. So in so much of confusion, when he repeated these names of Bhagavan, he got a solution. And finally he says, Nashto moho smritir labdat vat prasadat maya achyuta. Even there he says, hey Achyuta, because of your prasada, because of your blessings, my mind is now clear. Nashto moho smritir labda. All my moha is gone. My delusions are gone. And my clarity of thought is back again to me. It is all because of your prasada. So with this, I will do whatever you order me to do, right? So this kind of thought, where again he is using the word Achyuta happened. So I thought that these names should be compiled and given as a beautiful music. So I compiled it, and these 72 names, if everybody repeats it every morning and dwell on it, the gunas of Bhagavan in each of these names, it will be the entire Nama Sankirtana, all the names of Bhagavad Gita in 5 minutes every day. That was the main reason of me doing it. And it was Krishna's blessing that S.P. Balasubramaniam Mahodaya had sung it for me. So the great legend SPB had sung it for me, along with Shweta Mohan, who's sung parts of it. And the entire song is only 5 minutes. So if any of you want to listen to it after we are done, I'm more than happy to share that. So all this is part of the Bhagavad Gita and the importance of Nama Sankirtana. So the last few minutes, I would like to just explain one sloka from Bhagavad Gita for you to get a feel of what is in it, and what we can apply in our everyday. So this is a sloka which is mentioned by Bhagavan Krishna in the second chapter. Okay, this is sloka number 62 and 63. If you look at this, it says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu pajayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Kamat krodho bhijayate. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Excellent compilation of an introspection tool that Krishna gives us. What happens here is Krishna says, why does one person perish? Now, Arjuna is here. Just think, he's asking a question. There's one huge army of people who want to fight against me, knowing fully well that they are going to die. Why? Why are they willing to, give up their life? Why are they perishing like this, oh Krishna? Now, Krishna says it is a 8-step ladder. And he gives 8 beautiful points here. He says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. Everything starts just with a thought. It is, you get distracted with a thought. Now, think about it in our everyday life. We see latest gizmo, a mobile phone, a smart TV, something, a Jaguar car, something which is very attractive. The moment we see it, we are like, oh my God, it looks so beautiful. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha, the thought is created. And then what happens if we leave it at that, or if we nip it at that, no problem. But then what happens? Sangasteshu pajayate. We keep thinking about that thought. We strengthen that desire in us by repeatedly allowing the thought to fill our mind. So we go do a Google search, get more information about it, discuss it with people, understand more features of what it can do. Everything is done. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Now, when so much of information is there, we are like, I must get this. Come what may, I want to buy this, right? So you get so much of desire that you want to acquire that particular thing. Kamat, krodho, abhijayate. Now you really, really want to have it. But then you don't have the money. Maybe it is very, very expensive. So you are like, my God, I just can't afford this after working for so many years. What am I doing in life, right? So you get really angry. The next day you have to go to work. You're annoyed, you're irritated. Somebody else has it, you don't have it. That, irritability increases even against that person. Suppose you don't have any financial issue, you buy it. Think about it. So many times we get what we want. Think of a latest mobile phone, you buy it. You forget, misplace it somewhere. What kind of tension we undergo, right? Oh my God, my phone is gone. What do I do now? What do I do now? So, kamat krodho abhijayate. When you get it, you don't get it, the result can be anger. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. When you're angry, your mind is so, confused. It's clouded. So it is all in delusion now. You don't know what is right and what is wrong. So kama, you can also think about it as, a lust. So a lust, a person is now dating a girl. Just think about it. Now his parents have brought them up throughout the life. When this lust is filled and the parents don't want this marriage, just think of a situation. Now, kamat krodho abhijayate, krodhat bhavati sammohaha. He gets so angry that even the benefits that he's gotten from his parents for all these years vanishes off from his mind. Kamat krodho abhijayate, krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Because of that anger, his mind gets so clouded that he even forgets all what has happened in his life earlier. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha. He forgets, all what he's learned in this life. Smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha. Whatever he has to learn, whatever he's learned in his life, he forgets that. When that basic thing is forgotten, buddhinashaha, his mind does not know to work the right way. Buddhinashat pranashyati. When a person does not know to distinguish the right from the wrong, when he does not remember his learnings, when mind is confused so much, when he is filled with anger, of course, he is going to perish. So this is an 8-step ladder that Bhagavan Krishna says. So this 8 steps, if you look at this chart of mine, you can understand what is there here. Now, the sense organs, which we desire, leads to attachment. That in turn leads to strong desires. If you get it, if you don't get it, it can lead to anger. So your question here can also be that what leads to anger? Why do I get angry? And then you can work on this on a reverse chronological order. You get angry because desires gives you anger. Why does desire, why do I even develop desire? It's because of my attachment to objects. Well, how does my attachment come? It is because you start thinking about it. So if you nip it at the bud in the dhyayato vishayan, if you don't get distracted in the first place, you can control even your anger. Krishna gives this beautiful tool to us. Anger in turn leads to delusion, laws of reasoning, laws of intelligence, and finally they perish. So if you want to avoid perishing, you have to be intelligent, for which you should have reasoning, for which you should not be disillusionized. And all the way it comes to saying that don't get distracted, don't get angry. So this is this 8-step process, which is beautifully explained by Bhagavan Krishna in this sloka. So this is so applicable for all of us in our everyday life, where Krishna gives us like a spoon feeding thing. Apply it to different aspects. No psychology tool will tell you that, you will perish if you have desires. Krishna says anger itself is because of desires. Today, everything says, buy this, buy that, you'll feel happy. Krishna says, if you buy this, buy that, you will only get delusionized, your mind will get clouded. So you get a totally different perspective from these two slokas. There are many, many different dimensions for me to work on these slokas, but I just wanted to give this tip of the iceberg feel to you, saying like, what's in Bhagavad Gita which we can apply in our everyday life. So you have the beautiful song which I've compiled, you have so many lessons, the Leelas of Bhagavan Krishna, which we can keep talking all the time, so to dwell in Bhagavan Krishna's Anubhava. So with this, I will conclude. If any of you have any questions, I can answer it. If not, I will play the song and we will end. Thank you so much. Dhanyavada.
Thank you very much, Pravina Ji. That was a very passionate talk, I must say. It's a very interesting story. You have weaved us through the childhood of Krishna and then brought us to the story of Govardhana. It went all over, and you did bring up nice nuggets, especially those which are more relevant for this modern age in terms of science, the time dilation. That was very good. And then, of course, you also mentioned a few things about Krishna appearing in different forms. And then finally, the modern psychology also explains about how the attachment and the desires drive the anger. That was very beautifully explained. I'll pause here and request all our participants to see if you have any questions. You can unmute yourself, or you can also type it in the chat. I'll ask on your behalf. Either way, please. Okay, maybe it's getting late for some of us. That's fine, but feel free to reach out either directly to Ms. Pravina or through Hindu Center. We will definitely pass your questions back and see if we can get some answers for those. With that, Pravina, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, your energy, and most importantly, your passion in explaining us, walking us through this whole story and bringing out the beautiful nuggets. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I will now close the session. Normally, we do have the closing prayers. So let me share my screen now. Before we do our closing prayers, for those who are new to Hindu Center, we have a WhatsApp number. You can register with it. Don't worry, we will not spam your WhatsApp. It's a one-way communication whereby we communicate all the happenings from Hindu Center, such as this talk today. And we do have these talks every month. We'd encourage you to subscribe to this WhatsApp. It's only a one-way communication from Hindu Center. Just type this number and type in the join, and you'll automatically add it to the group. We also appeal to your generosity, request your donations for some of these sevas activities which we carry on behalf of Hindu Center. One such, we broadly do three types of activities: jnana, bhakti, and seva. Jnana is what we today experienced in terms of we bring in the experts to talk on the Hinduism. We also run classes for kids, for teens. We also have Vedic yoga, Sanskrit chanting classes, interfaith events, which we participate from Hindu Center. We also have bhakti, bhajans, prayers as listed there, and we also do seva. So again, appeal, if you can, please do donate. The details are given up there, and they are also available in our website. Now I'll move on to the final slide, which is the closing prayers. Request all to mute. I'll lead you through the prayers, and then we'll close the call. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste once again. Thank you for joining. Good night.
Thank you. Happy Janmashtami. Happy
Oh,
Sri
thank you.
Krishna Jayanti. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.